Hi everyone, welcome to Coloring with Lori. So, I thought I would put my 2 cents in on the Unpopular Opinion Tag. And this is a buddy color with Amy Travels Colors and Crafts and Leon's Journey. I have the Japanese version. I have not tried Prismacolors in here yet, so thought I'd work on the strawberries, tomatoes, since there's quite a few of them on the page. While I give you something to look at while I answer these questions, as other people have done. So the first question is super popular coloring book you just don't connect with. Well, I'd have to say that would be Kirby Roseanne's Dark Fairy Tales. I don't care for fairy tales books in general, and then adding the dark twist just makes it even worse. So, number 2, do you like simple or highly detailed pages? I prefer details. I like a lot of details on the pages. I don't like to do big items. The things on this page are kind of pushing my limits with how large they are. So, definitely detailed. Do you prefer alcohol markers or colored pencils? Colored pencils for sure. Don't really care for alcohol markers. I use them here and there. If you watch the channel, you know my mom used to use them, so she bought a very large set of them. So I try to incorporate them in my coloring just so they get some use. But nope, don't care for them at all. Number 4, is it okay to have whips or no? Absolutely. I think for one thing, if you work on a couple pages at a time, it's more motivating and kind of, you don't get stuck in a rut. If you need a break from one page, you can hop on over to another page. So I don't like a lot of whips, and most of my whips I don't really consider whips. I consider them abandoned pages. I probably won't get back to them, but for the question at hand, absolutely it's okay to have whips. So, number 5, what's one illustrator style that just isn't for you? I'd have to say Hannah Carlson on that note. Never really cared for her work through the years. I've been coloring. I started dabbling in 2014, adult coloring. I've always had like a Scooby-Doo coloring book around to color on sick days. And never cared for her. I thought, well, I'll give it a try just recently here and bought Grains of Gold for a little variety. And I see why people like her so much, but again, just not for me, as the question says. Number 6, do you think adult coloring books are too repetitive? No, not really. I think every illustrator artist has a particular style, and of course their style is going to be repetitive within their work. But no, I don't think so. Number 7, are limited edition hard to find books overhyped? I would say yes on that, just for the prices that they're charging for them, because if they weren't hyped up, they wouldn't be able to get that price for them. So because they're going for the dollars that they're going for, I would say yes, they're overhyped, because a coloring book is not worth that. If the art would be worth something because the artist, but I don't think the coloring book art is like that because it's so overprinted. So I'd have to say they are definitely overhyped. Number 8, are color-alongs overrated or underrated? Listening to everybody talk about these, okay, I'm going to say underrated for the same reasons that all the other channels have been saying. They're a lot of work for the creator, and the creators are saying that they're the least viewed. So you could kind of look at that as they're overrated, that creators think they need to do them, but people don't view them. You know, if you looked at it that way. But I'm going to say they're underrated because they're not given the love and there's so much work put into them. But you could look at that in the flip way too. But I definitely think they're needed in the community. I think we've all watched one or two, if we followed it or not. But so, do I think they're underrated? Yes, color alongs are underrated. 9. What is your opinion on overconsumption in the coloring world? Well, I don't think we can deny that most of us overconsume. There are some very, very conservative people out there that do not. They only have a few products and they only use their few products and they only buy a couple books at a time and don't buy another book until that book's finished. So for myself, I'd say yes, it's overconsumption because I definitely don't need all the products that I have. But there are people out there that no, have not fallen into the overconsumption. So in general, as people, we overconsume everything. So of course the answer to that is yes in the big picture. But I don't want people that don't overconsume that I'm saying that everybody overconsumes, because nope. I know I personally know of people that do not. So number 10, what's one popular supply you don't think is worth the money? Well, like I said, I've been in the adult coloring since about 2014. Was on YouTube in 2015. You know, everybody says that the adult coloring got so popular during COVID. That's not really true. It was super popular before the hand, about 2015-16. And then it dwindled down, and then it kicked back up when COVID came. Anyway, my point to all that, some markers that were extremely popular back then was the Arteza alcohol or Arteza alcohol markers, the Everblends, and they had refills, but when you bought the refills, you had to buy a pack of 4. Now, over the years, you know, they've yellowed a lot of the pages. The tips are really hard. They do not blend. I've never thought they blended well. So that is the product that I will say was definitely not worth the money. I don't even know if they're available now, but they're in my collection, and they were definitely not worth the money that was paid for them. So Arteza alcohol, Everblend markers. So the next batch of questions is a true or false, which I'm sure if you've watched any of these videos, none of us have kept it to true or false. We have to add our explanation, which I find is interesting because when I was in college, I had a lot of professors that if they gave you a true or false test, you had to explain why you said it was true or false. Multiple choice too. If it was a multiple choice, you had to explain your answer. So number 1, you need to swatch supplies. False. You don't want to, you don't have to. Is it helpful? Absolutely. I swatch all my stuff, but only go back to the swatches for the things that the products I don't use a lot and I don't know them and I don't know the colors. But nope, that's false. Number 2, cute and cozy books are worth the hype. False. I think they're just kids' books re-promoted as adult books. But they definitely have their place. Some people love them, but I definitely think they're I think that's false, that they're worth the hype. Number 3, collecting coloring books is part of the hobby. I'm going to say false, but before you start screaming, listen. collecting coloring books is a separate hobby in itself. There's some people that collect the books and don't color. There's other people that color and do not collect books. Like I said, I personally know somebody who doesn't buy. She'll have maybe 2-3 books at a time and will not buy another book until she finishes one. So I think that's another individualized thing. And if you're collecting books just to look at them and have them on your shelf, I don't think that's part of the coloring hobby. I think that's a collecting book hobby, a separate hobby. Number 4, you need social media to really be able to participate in the coloring community. Absolutely true. How would you connect with a internet community if you weren't on the internet? So, no arguing with that question. That one's pretty black and white. Number 5, coloring is not something you do at the same time as other stuff. Well, false. And we've all done this tag while we were coloring a little something, I think. So, but we all know people listen to the radio, listen to music, watch lives, do all kinds of things while they're coloring. So, number 6, budget supplies are just as good as artist supplies. I say false. And I really don't think there's an argument on this. You might be able to use the budget supply if you know what you're doing with the supply and make it work as well as an artist grade supply, but you don't get the quality of the pigment in that supply. So the supply itself is absolutely not as good. You can't do a portrait with some Crayola pencils and sell it to somebody and expect them to hang it on their wall and that be okay. That's not going to be okay. So no, the budget supplies are not as good as artist supplies. False. 7, the quality of completed pages compromises the quantity of completed pages compromises the quality. No. False. A lot of people can color really fast and have beautiful pages. Now me, it would definitely compromise because if I colored fast, I have no idea what it would look like. It's not looking so good coloring and talking here either, so. But that is the end of the questions. If you watched the video and nobody tagged you, you now are tagged. Consider yourself tagged. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you all soon. Have a wonderful day, evening, or night. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.